Today I'm going to work on making some labels. I've already started to create them in Design Space. So as you can see, there is a little triangle that gives you a little error message. If you click that, it says, "Not supported by the Joy. Pen incompatible. Change pen selection." Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to go down here where I can change the pen selection. And if I click on the first one and hit black and hit OK, the error message goes away. So what that is telling me is that it does not actually select the pen automatically, that you have to go in there and select which pen you're using. I'm going to go in and I'm going to choose using the markers. Okay, I'm going to create one more label so I could show you how to choose your labels in Cricut Design Space. You're going to go down to Image and just key at the top Labels, and you can also choose My Images, Free Images, Uploads, that kind of thing, so you can narrow down your choices. So as you can see, there's quite a bit that are available right now. And this is the one I'm going to use. I'm going to change the color to white. I'm going to go to text and I'm going to choose my text. I like to use Simple Celebrations for this. Then I'm going to type in the word that I want to put on my label. And in this case, it's the word cereal. I'm going to take the word and I'm going to place it in the center of my label. I'm going to go down here to the left hand side down the bottom and go to where it says Style. And I'm going to scroll down to Writing. And then I'm going to go over to the color or the pen that I'm using, and I'm using the marker. And now I'm going to highlight both of those and attach. Once you've gotten them to the size that you want them, you're going to go to Make It. We're going to choose Without a Mat. Now here we're going to see that our labels are taking up a lot of space. So maybe I don't want them quite this big. As you notice, when you're looking at the mat, it does not allow you to go to each edge, nor all the way up to the top. So you're wasting an entire inch of the vinyl from a matless mat. So I'm going to show you how you can save on your vinyl at the end of this video. But for now, if you want to save some space, let's see if we could switch these to its side and see if they'll fit. And they won't. So I'm going to go back and resize my images a little bit smaller so I can save on some vinyl. I don't need my labels to be exactly that big. Now when I go back to the mat, I now can fit both or two labels in one row and the second two labels in another row. And I would say this is probably going to save me 2 inches. I guess 2 inches of vinyl here. Let's prepare our mat. I'm going to be using the Smart labels. So if you read the package, it says Smart labels, writable vinyl. It contains 1 roll. Create your own peel and stick labels without a cutting mat. It's in white. On this side it says transfer tape may damage writable vinyl surface. Do not use with printers. So customize labels using Cricut Joy pens and markers. Easy to read and effortless to apply without transfer tape. Made for the Cricut Joy machines. And then you can get other instructions and tips on the Cricut.com website. Now this here is the black pen that came with the Cricut machine. It is a fine point pen. I also received the metallic markers that are 1.0. They have gold, silver, and blue. So let's open these up and see what they look like. So this is how they are packaged. And like I said, this one here, this is gold. And that's the tip on it. Then we have silver. And they're just calling this one blue. This is the one I'm going to use today. Now I'm going to open up the Smart label. I want to try to be as careful as I can because I do want to put my vinyl back into the container when I'm done, just to protect it while it's being stored. Let's take a closer look. The vinyl side and the matless backing. It's pretty heavy, like pretty stiff. Go back to Design Space and hit the go. You want to choose your Joy machine. And then this is going to take you to the next step where you will have to choose your material that you're using. And here it now tells me that the gel pens and the markers are not compatible with this material. So we're going to have to change the marker. So we cannot use the blue marker. We will have to go and use the original pen that the Joy came with. So I'm going back and I'm going back to the canvas and I'm going to change each one to the fine point pen in black. And I'm going to do that to each one. Hit apply. Now we're going to have to go and direct these shapes again. So good to know that the smart labels you can only use the pens on. I guess maybe the others will smear. I'm going to hit continue. Choose my material again. Okay, so now we already know that we changed the marker to the pen. Now it's telling me to load the black pen. I'm going to take out the blade, and there is a little magnet here on the side that will hold your blade while you're using your pen. And just drop the pen in and close the little door. Now we're going to take the end of the roll and put under the rollers, and it will automatically feed into the Cricut Joy machine. It's going to first pull in enough material for the project just to make sure you have enough on the roll. Now go back to the iPad. I am fast forwarding this part because it does take a few minutes. Once they are done writing, the design space tells you to load the fine point blade. So we need to remove the pen from the housing, or from the, I don't know what you call that thing. And we're going to take the blade and drop it back in and close the door. Go back to the iPad and hit go. Now it's going to cut. Now I did not fast forward the cut, so you can see in real time that it is about the same speed as the Air. With the Air 2 in the Maker, you can do the twice speed, but all these other machines seems to be equal. Back to design space and hit unload. And there you have it. There are my 4 labels. We're going to weed them. So let's change the view a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take the roll, and normally you would take the scissors and just cut right after the design, but I'm not going to do that because I'm going to show you how you could save a little bit of your vinyl or your smart label, whatever you're using. So let's just try and weed out each of these labels, and I'm going to fast forward this section. These are the containers I'm going to use to put my labels on. You want to make sure that you clean the area that your labels are going on to just get a good stick. I'm just using rubbing alcohol. So this one is my sugar. I do want to point out that the labels are kind of like transparency, like a white transparency type of label. I didn't get that on completely straight, and I have a couple little bubbles. So I would probably recommend to apply the labels from the center and then spread out. So with this next one, I'm going to try it that way. I'm going to share with you how you're going to be able to save an inch of vinyl with your next cut. You're going to locate where your label was, and right here is where the label is taken out, and I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to give it 1 inch. You're going to cut 1 inch into the area that your label was. So when you flip it around, you're going to see that you have an inch that does not have any vinyl on it. This is the part of the vinyl or part of the mat that's going to pull through, and it's actually going to start cutting right down here, so 1 inch down.